the LM curve. As we discussed that the IS curve is derived from the equilibrium condition in the goods market. So similarly, the LM curve is derived from the equilibrium condition in the market for money. And what is the equilibrium condition? When the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity of money supplied, we can say that the money market is in equilibrium. And this relationship can be derived from the concept of the LM curve. Actually, the main building block in Keynesian analysis of the market for money is the demand for money, which is known as liquidity preference theory. The liquidity preference theory states that the demand for money in the real terms depends on income and interest rates. When we divide MD by P, it is known as a real money balance, or it is known as real quantity of money, or it is known as real money demand. So J. M. Keynes stated that the demand for money in real terms depends on aggregate output and the interest rates. And further, he stated that the demand for money is positively related to income. However, the relationship between the demand for money and the interest rate is negative. Demand for money is positively related to income for two reasons. Number one, a rise in income raises the level of transactions in the economy. So, very simply, when there is an increase in the income level of individuals or consumers, this increase in income will encourage the consumers to carry out more transactions. And if you have more transactions, it means that your demand for money is higher. So that's why we can say that a rise in income raises the level of transactions in the economy, which in turn raises the demand for money because it is used to carry out these transactions. Number second, a rise in income increases the demand for money because it increases the wealth of individuals. It means that if your income increases, it means the demand for money increases. And finally, it will increase the wealth of individuals who want to hold more assets. So we can say that the opportunity cost of holding money is the interest sacrificed by not holding other assets. For example, bonds. If interest rate rises, the opportunity cost of holding money rises and the demand for money falls. So what is the relationship between the interest rate and the money demand? Very simply, it is negative. If interest rate increases, the demand for money decreases. So, according to the liquidity preference theory developed by J. M. Keynes, the demand for money is positively related to aggregate output and negatively related to interest rates. Now, we are going to derive the LM curve. In the Keynesian framework, the level of interest rate is determined by equilibrium in the market for money. Actually, the equilibrium point represents the point where the quantity of money demanded is equal to the quantity of money supplied. Or we can say that quantity money demanded is equal to money supplied. Part A represents market for money. On the vertical axis, we have the interest rate variable. And on the horizontal axis, we have M over P, the real money balance. This is a vertical line. This is the money supply line, and this is the money demand line. Why this curve has a negative slope? Because the relationship between the interest rate and the quantity demanded for money is negative. And similarly, if the interest rate rises from I1 to I2, we will move from point 1 to point 2. Or now the money demand is MDY2, which is higher than the previous. And similarly, if we move from I2 to I3, we are moving from point 2 to point 3, and our money demand function R curve is now MDY3, which is higher than the previous level. This represents the market for money. What about the second case? This is the derivation of the LM curve. On the vertical axis, we have the interest rate, and on the horizontal axis, we have the aggregate output level, which is represented by Y. When aggregate output is Y1, the money demand curve is MDY1. It slopes downward because a lower interest rate means that the opportunity cost of holding money is lower. So the quantity of money demanded is higher. And point 1 is the equilibrium position. Now suppose when aggregate output is at the higher level Y2, so the money demand curve shift rightward from MDY1 to MDY2, because the higher level of output means that at any given interest rate, the quantity of money demanded is higher. And what will be the equilibrium point? Point B, mean point 2. This is the equilibrium point where the money demand curve intersects the money supply curve, and I2 is the interest rate. Now suppose if the output is Y3, so this higher level of aggregate output results in an even higher level of equilibrium interest rates. So we will move from point 2 to point 3. This is the new equilibrium point level, and at this new equilibrium point level we have a higher interest level from the previous case. Actually, the panel B plots the equilibrium interest rates that correspond to the different output levels. When we connect these 3 points with each other, we can get a positively upward sloped curve, which is known as LM curve. And this LM curve shows the combination of interest rates and output for which the market for money is in equilibrium. The positive slope arises because higher output raises the demand for money and thus raises the equilibrium interest rate.